Chicago Bears Now is presented by Manscaped. You can get 20% off plus free shipping with code BEARS20 when you go to manscaped.com. That link and promo code in the description and comments of this video. Welcome in to Chicago Bears Now. I am Harrison Graham, and we're going to plan on going live here in a little bit, but wanted to get a video out for you guys this morning after David Montgomery signed with the Detroit Lions last night. 3-year, $18 million deal with $11 million guaranteed. So on today's show, we'll take a look at some potential replacements. And before you ask, Travis Homer is not a replacement. Like right now, I've got him penciled in as RB2, but I really look at him as like what they hoped Trestan Ebner would provide, which is occasional touches on offense and special teams value, which Ebner did some of that on special teams, but when he played on offense, didn't offer much. I think Homer is much more of an RB3. In 4 seasons with Seattle, he has less than 500 yards rushing and less than 500 yards receiving. So 200 offensive yards per season, that's not an RB2. That's an RB3 occasional scat back that plays on special teams. Did want to mention, though, that the Bears did sign him 2 years worth up to $4.5 million. His agent had that. Schefter had the note. Again, look, 2-year deal, he'll be on this roster. I would say Trestan Ebner is more on the hot seat. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they end up rolling with Herbert, Homer, and Ebner. That would surprise me. I don't think that's the case, which is why we're going to take a look at some Montgomery replacements. Now, are you upset that the Bears let David Montgomery walk? It wasn't a huge contract. 3 years, $18 million. I probably would have paid that, I'll be honest. Type Y for yes. Type N for no. Let me know in the comments section below. Now let's take a look at some free agent options first, then we'll go to trade, then we'll go to draft. Let's start with Jamaal Williams. Little swap, right? David Montgomery to Detroit. Williams leaves Detroit to come to Chicago. It could be an interesting option. Had a really good year for the Lions last year. 262 yards, over 1,000 yards. He was a touchdown machine with 17 of them, 4.1 average. I mean, he was so good that he kind of unseated who am I drawing a blank for on their RB1? DeAndre Swift, thank you very much, producer Rolly. He unseated him as their top back last year, which was pretty surprising. Williams is a leader. If you watched Hard Knocks last year, he was kind of the heart and soul of that offense. So could be an interesting option. If you could get him for cheaper than the Montgomery price tag, I would have some interest. Let's talk about Ezekiel Elliott, who technically has not been cut yet, but a report from this morning is that the Cowboys are prepared to release Zeke. The new league year is at 4 Eastern, 3 Central today. Now, maybe the Cowboys and Zeke come to some major, restructuring of his contract, but it sounds like he's going to get cut. You look at his year last year, okay, 876, 12 touchdowns, 3.8 average behind a pretty solid offensive line. You watch him run, he's pretty cooked, man. Like, he just does not have any burst anymore. Now, what I will say is he's good in short yardage, and he is still excellent in blitz pickup. Like, he is arguably the best blocking running back in the NFL. So, in a scenario where you want to make Khalil Herbert RB1, have Zeke as a cheap RB2 who can come in on third downs and pick up some blitzes, I could see that as a potential option, but for real money, I don't think so. I don't think he's going to cost much at all if he even ends up signing elsewhere, which I'm sure he will. Miles Sanders. Let's talk about Miles Sanders, who had a really interesting season for the Eagles. You look at his regular season numbers, and you're like, this was a top back in football, right? 1,269 yards, 11 touchdowns, almost 5 yards per carry, but a few things to consider. One, he played behind the best offensive line in the league. Jalen Hurts was a threat to run it, just like Justin Fields is here, so that freed up some lanes. I think he is the best free agent option out there. He's still pretty young. But it's weird that in the playoffs, he kind of got phased out of the offense in favor of Kenneth Gainwell, which is why the Eagles have let Sanders walk after they decided to re-sign Boston Scott and go out and sign Rashad Penny, who gets hurt every year. They opted to sign him instead of re-signing Sanders. So that's interesting. I'll be curious to see what Sanders' market is. I don't think it would be much more than Monty, and it could end up even being cheaper. I think Monty's the better overall back, but Sanders had the better season last year, albeit a weird playoff run. Should the Bears sign Miles Sanders? What do you guys think? Type S for sign or P for pass. Get your votes in down in the comments below. Should the Bears sign Miles Sanders in NFL free agency? All right, spring has sprung, and Manscaped has the best tools for some spring cleaning. They've already helped you tidy up all the nooks and crannies on your body's basement, but this year Manscaped can help you get the perfect presentation on that beautiful face with the brand new Beard Hedger Pro Kit. Make sure you look your best this spring by using code BEARS20 at manscaped.com. Get 20% off plus free shipping. This kit starts off with the Beard Hedger, a waterproof cordless trimmer with a rotary wheel that gives you 20 hair cutting links, all with one guard, so no more messy drawers full of add-ons. It also comes with titanium coated T-blades that are tough on hair but smooth on your face, leading to single stroke efficiency that brings satisfaction one stroke at a time. The Beard Hedger is a high-tech piece of art in a travel-sized package with a long-lasting battery, universal charging, and strong motor. So get started today with the Beard Hedger Pro Kit. You can get a bunch of extra products as well, beard oil. You can get the brush there, the scissors, and a whole lot more. It comes in a little nice kit that you can throw it all in. Promo code BEARS20 at manscaped.com. Beard like a pro with Manscaped. They have traveled north with their products this year. I'm a huge fan of them, keeping my beard nice and tamed. All right, let's go to Damien Harris. We'll kind of reveal both these guys at the same time here. I think they're similar tier. Damien Harris, Devin Singletary, both have been starters, kind of just okay level starters. I think they're really solid RB2s. Like, I think that's the next decision for the Bears. Is Khalil Herbert their lead running back? He can certainly be that, but you still have to replace Montgomery, in my opinion. You need that solid RB2. This team's going to run the football a lot, and again, I don't view Travis Homer or Treston Ebner right now as someone who's ready to take on, in some games, 10-plus carries. I think Harris and Singletary can handle that load. They're decent RB2 options, and they shouldn't cost that much, so keep an eye on those. All right, so those are some free agent options. Let's get to some trade targets. 4 guys that could be available on the trade target, 2 more than the others. That's Austin Ekeler and Derrick Henry. Reports that, especially with Ekeler, the Chargers are letting him seek a trade. There's been buzz around Derrick Henry being available as well. If you've been paying attention to the Titans, they're starting to retool that roster. Josh Jacobs is reportedly upset with what the Raiders have done in free agency. He's under the franchise tag. Could he be a tag and trade guy? I don't think the Bears would do that because he would probably cost like a second-round pick in a trade, and I just don't think the Bears will go that route. Same with Saquon. There's no indication he's upset, but if contract negotiations stall on a long-term deal, he's under the tag. He could be a trade option, but again, I'm not trading a premium pick for a running back right now. Like, Ekeler seems the most likely because it would probably be a later pick, so we'll have to wait and see how that goes, but those are some names that have been linked to trade rumors. Subscribe to the channel and join us today at 11:30, so probably less than an hour from now by the time we publish this video. We're going to go live and get you ready for the Aaron Rodgers potential announcement. We'll see what he says on Pat McAfee shows today. On the Pat McAfee show today, is his era in Green Bay over? We'll cover that, plus everything else happening in NFL free agency. Rolly and I have had a great first 2 days with all of you guys. Hopefully we'll see you guys here in a little bit. Okay, let's go to some draft options, then we'll get out of here. The obvious one, the home run guy, Bijan Robinson, the running back out of Texas. I mean, you look at what this guy did his last 2 years in Austin, and he just had monster seasons, especially this past year. I mean, he was unbelievable with almost 1,600 yards, over 300 yards receiving, 20 touchdowns. And by the way, I think he can be more of a threat as a receiver in the NFL. I think that's one area Texas didn't use him enough. When they did throw it to him, he was very, very dynamic. He is an excellent player. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. He is the safest pick in this draft. Now, he's probably not going to give you 10 elite years because running backs wear out quicker, but you would get 5 really good years out of Bijan Robinson if you took him in the first round, which, means it wouldn't be a bad pick in my opinion. Is it your biggest need? No. Is it a high-value position long-term? Not really. But would he be damn good in this offense? I think he would. So what do you guys think? Would you draft Bijan Robinson with the number 9 pick? It's a tough one. Type D for draft or HN for hell no. I understand both answers. Right now, I would lean no, but I'm starting to think it could be possible. So let me know what you guys think. D for draft, HN for hell no. Devin A-Chain and Jahmyr Gibbs here, our next 2 guys, are a couple of guys to monitor. Texas A&M and Alabama's finest here. I think they both come into the same tier of after Bijan of maybe one of these guys sneaks into round 1, but I think they're early, mid-second round. The Bears have picks number 53, 61, and 64. I would take either of these guys in that range. I wouldn't trade up, I don't think, in the second round to get one because there is a lot of depth at running back in this draft, but those could be some options. Zach Charbonnet, not far behind, in my opinion, at 64 or 61. He could be a target as well out of UCLA. He's a north-south runner that can get to the edge as well. Like, he's got more burst than Montgomery. He's 6'1", 220, but he can run away from dudes sometimes. 14 touchdowns, average 7 yards per carry. He quietly had a monster season for UCLA. And keep in mind, they run that zone read spread offense, so he can get to the edge of playing with quarterback Dorian Thompson-Robinson, who I've mentioned before is a potential backup. He did this in 10 games. I mean, he had a monster season for the Bruins a year ago. And then I'll mention Chase Brown as well, and there's a ton of other backs in this draft. You guys are familiar with Brown out of Illinois. I think he could be a day 3 option. This draft is loaded. There's tiers. Bijan's the round 1 guy. You got Gibbs and A-Chain is, early round 2 probably. Charbonnet round 2, round 3. A couple others in the 3rd round. You get into the 4th, 5th round guys that could be good starters or RB2s. I mean, Zach Evans. You've got Kendre Miller. You've got all kinds of players in this draft that I'm intrigued with. So you don't have to force the issue in free agency. You don't have to force it with Bijan, although I'd be at least a little bit intrigued. This draft is loaded with backs, which is ultimately probably why Ryan Poles said, you know what, we're going to let David Montgomery walk. Who should the Bears add at running back? Let me know in the comments. If you think no one, if you think the Bears are set, let me know. I disagree. I don't think they are set whatsoever. But get your thoughts down in the comment section below. And be sure to join us here in a little bit. Producer Rolly and I will be back for day 3 of free agency. Aaron Rodgers watch, more NFL free agency news. Lots of stuff happening here around the Chicago Bears, so don't miss any of it. And we'll see you guys on the channel in a little bit.